Her loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run. Yes, we are her loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run.
Hello and welcome to another victory edition of the HLS podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Ritter. You can call me ND Tex. As always, you can join us live over here on twitch.tv/HerLoyalSons and subscribe to the podcast, of course, over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at. Make sure you leave us a review while you're over on the Apple side, and that way we can read it on the show. Come join us in Discord. That is our live chat channel, so you can be informed when Jalen Smith goes murder training the NFL in real time. Of course, you can always find us at our home at herloyalsons.com. And with that said, I bring in Pokemon Master Extraordinaire Shane. How's it going, bud?
Yes. It is that time of my life again when a new Pokemon game has come out and everything else has fallen by the wayside, including my basic adult responsibilities, even probably some bills, I'm sure.
Oh, no.
New Pokemon came out on Friday and football happened Saturday. And I can tell you right now, I didn't watch most of it. I just caught up on it after the fact. So, I also happened to watch the Notre Dame game. It was a fun weekend.
It was a very fun weekend. Yeah, I'm holding off on new Pokemon for two reasons. One, just insanely busy. I got the Extra Life stuff going on still. That's where most of my gaming time is actually devoted right now. Two, I don't know if my kid needs to know that there's actually a new Pokemon game out right now. So
yeah,
we'll try to avoid that for at least a little while. Maybe into the off season I can dive
pretty
into
consuming. I can say from firsthand experience, every lunch break this week will be consumed by that.
it. All right. Oh man, what are lunch breaks these days? That's
Yeah.
It's been a crazy month. We are in the month of November. Things are indeed crazy around college football. Lots of this is really one of those Saturdays where it's really headlines and storylines popping up. It's not so much even when I was watching college football final, everything like every game plays into a different story, a different talking point. And it's hilarious that's kind of how I envision doing the show anyway. And I'm like, hey, ESPN's kind of doing the same thing too. They just sprinkle some facts in here and there, and but there are a few major storylines that we will have to get into. And really, let's just start with the biggest one, because typically we don't start off with an Alabama blowout, 38-7 your final. Alabama gets a nice road win against Mississippi State.
Who was number 10?
Oh, no, that is me forgetting to change copy.
Oof, okay. I was like,
very much an unranked team.
What year is it?
Yeah, it's the first year of the playoff rankings. No, not number 10 Mississippi State. Error on my part on the slides. But yes, this game was not supposed to ever be in doubt. It wasn't for a while. Tua Tagovailoa looked pretty decent for a while. He was a game time decision. And then at the end of the first half, he takes a hit. He falls in such a way and has his helmet off and his nose is bloody. Like, oh, okay, well, maybe he just, busted his face. And then all of a sudden a cart's coming out. Mm-hmm. And every report is he's in extreme pain. There's some random doctor I never heard of on Twitter that's saying that's the Bo Jackson career-ending injury that happened there. It's like, okay, well, really? You're able to tell this just from a replay? And then news eventually filters out that Tua is going to be out for the remainder of the season. The hip is dislocated. He also has a fracture somewhere in the wall of his hip as well. So this is nasty. And all of a sudden, I mean, that is a Heisman contender that is now knocked out for the year. And this was not the only injury that Alabama suffered as well. They also lost a little bit of beef on the defensive side of the ball. But this is obviously the big one. Because Tua has been absolute magic. And the interesting part, though, because now the entire storyline, not just what's going to happen to Alabama, but it is, should Tua have even been in the game at that point? Because Matt Jones had been warming up. He was warm. It was already a blowout. So should you just go ahead and yank him? And Saban said, well, we wanted to make sure he got some 2-minute drill practice, which when I heard that, I was like, I think your scout team's a little bit better than what Mississippi State's throwing at you right now. But regardless, he was left in the game, and now the questions start to get asked, and it's usually Nick Saban not in such a position. What do you think of this whole thing, Shane?
I mean, the headline is Tua out for the season, but the sub-headline is your 2019-2020 Heisman Trophy winner is Joe Burrow, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fucking wrap. But no, I mean, I don't think it's ever fair to play fucking Captain Hindsight for like a first half injury. I don't give a shit about the score. It's a first half injury. Everybody in the ones usually just plays out the first half, because how much of a massive dick move would it be to sub out your seconds in the fucking second quarter? Like, seriously. That would be crucified much faster than should he have benched him. You know, so to me, it's like, you, Captain Hindsight, you have no place here. Like, you couldn't have anticipated this kind of thing. Sure, he was a quote unquote game time decision, but he wasn't a game time decision for a fucking hip situation. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So this was one of those fucking freak accidents that the universe just said, like, listen, Alabama, we understand you've been to the playoff every season. Maybe take a seat because shit's about to get weird. Like, that's kind of how it feels.
Right.
At this point, because Alabama went from guaranteed to match up and tee off against in an interesting way against the likes of Clemson, Ohio State, LSU, even though they lost. Now they don't get past LSU or Ohio State in any fucking planet.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And I think the only hindsight, if you really want to level a criticism against Saban, if you really want to go down that route, you could say, well, if he was already kind of questionable game time decision, maybe you just keep him out a week. But that is a decision in a vacuum and is not looking at, hey, we're just on the outside looking in. There's a 5 next to their name. So they got to do whatever they can to try to get up and put up some style points. So yeah, like Shane said, your starters are going to play the first half. We're going to talk about a lot of different blowouts that happen, including our own, and the ones are in for the entire half. And this was after, Tua got hurt as well. So yeah, it's if you want to play Captain Hindsight, it is maybe you hold him out. It's one thing I even said on Twitter. It's like for all of BK stuff that legitimately drives us insane. He is ultra cautious when it comes to his players, and he had a computer program that basically said Lindsey's not going to fucking travel to Duke because he's fatigued. Whatever that means, sure, I'm going to trust this program. That sounds good. Now, obviously, Tua not fatigued, and as Shane said, the hip was not a concern. It was both of his ankles, and he did not look hobbled in the game. He looked just fine. In fact, was my watching experience of the game. I sat there, watched the first 5 minutes, and said, this game's fucking over, and went and was trying to see if UMass could cover their gigantic spread against a hapless Northwestern team. And then all of a sudden, I get the news of what went down. You see the injury, and you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Saban gets to have the second guest brigade come down now because, that's what's going to naturally happen. But yeah, man, this is... You hate to see this because Tua's a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
Sure.
Number one, because he's such a good player. But the other thing that just absolutely freaking sucks, and you really hope this name, image, and likeness thing freaking takes off soon, because this kid has a previous broken finger. He has had surgeries on both of his ankles, and now he's got this hip thing. That just costs him millions of dollars if he ends up recovering and going to the NFL at full strength. I mean, look at Jalen Smith. Same thing happened to him. Yep. Now, thankfully, he got paid on the back end, but Jalen healed on an injury that wasn't supposed to heal. He got extremely lucky, extremely fortunate, and I'm lucky that I get to be a Cowboys fan to watch him, but none of this is guaranteed for Tua. He could end up, the worst case scenario is he doesn't get to make a dime off of his football prowess except maybe in a broadcast booth.
Yeah,
that's insane.
We'll see. Because, fortunately, this didn't happen in the final game of the season in the bowl game, right? Didn't happen in the playoff. So he has a little bit of a head start on what could have been expected of him in terms of recovery. But, I mean, yeah, hopefully he has enough time to bounce back because, I mean, it's just, like, cruel and unjust for this to happen at this point to such a talented player. But, at the same time, it's the sport. It's the nature of the sport. Like, in any other given season, this wouldn't really be like a particularly tragic story. It would just be one of those like, God damn it, like a great talented player goes down again. But, it just has the extra weight of, this is a team that had no business, like, even doubting their ability to dominate Mississippi State. And it's Nick Saban, and the playoff is coming, and should they be preparing for Auburn, and blah, blah, fucking blah. Like, there's just nothing to be said other than that shit. That sucks. But the playoff is going to be different. We know that for a fact this year.
Right. And speaking of the playoff being different, any outside chance that Baylor had went up in an absolutely insane game. This was another one to where I started only halfway paying attention and was looking at some of the other games going on at night because Baylor was hosting Oklahoma. They had game day there. They had Pat McAfee deciding to jump off into the fucking Brazos River for whatever the fuck. That dude is, if you could say anything about him, he's consistent in his insanity. That's about all I'll give Pat. You could tell I'm not his biggest fan. It's just not my cup of tea. If you like him, whatever. Not my gig. But Baylor goes up to a 28-3 lead. And if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, that makes you shudder because you know what happened to that lead in a certain Super Bowl. And it happened to Baylor. And not only did it happen to Baylor, it happened to Baylor on an Oklahoma team that didn't have CeeDee Lamb available.
Yeah.
Which is just absolutely insane. And which also makes you scratch your head like, how the hell did K-State beat you all? You pulled this on the road.
I don't know what K-State magic's got going on, but I just wanted to say, this game, Baylor literally got okay boomered.
They did. that was the running joke there. So there was like 2 rounds of jokes. It was the let's dogpile on OU in the first half, and you had all the OU schooner memes and the wheels are falling off type things. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was the okay boomer, and this win though was the largest comeback in Oklahoma history. The next largest was 21 points, and this happened twice. 1981, they did it against Kansas State, and 1970, they did it against Iowa State. And, of course, they do it to Baylor here, and, it was a heck of an effort from Baylor. The defense just ran out of gas, and that's the thing that had been carrying them. And the same problem that has happened to Baylor happened in the second half. The offense, which was humming, really it was like they had the adrenaline, they caught Oklahoma on their heels, and then it was the same Baylor offense we've seen for the rest of the way, and they literally let Oklahoma hang around, and that did them in.
Baylor has never had the defense to get it done. That's been their weakness all season.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts does end up being the top passer in this game. He goes 30 for 42 for 297 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is also your leading rusher, 27 carries for 114 yards. So he did it all. That was a Heisman-like effort. If there wasn't that Joe Burrow guy down at LSU, he'd probably be running away with it right now.
Going to have a nice second-place trophy.
Yeah, just a hell of a fun game to watch. Feel for Baylor a little bit because Matt Rule has, and really everything that's gone on, because Baylor has been a wonderful topic to discuss in this podcast in years past. And by wonderful, I say that with all the sarcasm in the world. But, they're trying to, the entire university is trying to move on, be better as a whole off the field as well, and to be able to actually have something going on the field as well, because they got a genuine good guy in Matt Rule from all accounts, who doesn't shy away from the talk. He was actually asked about it on game day, and it was funny how ESPN prefaced it, because it said, we're sure you're tired of hearing about this. And as he gave his answer, he said, it's like, but we have to talk about the past. I can't ignore it. It's something that happened. We want to be a leader, in issues of sexual assault, because it's not just a Baylor problem. It's like we had a problem, but it's a nationwide issue as well. So to not shy away from it, because ESPN basically teed him up to dodge everything. Like, you're right, we're here to talk about this team and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't do that. So I tip my cap to him. Sucks that they lost, but I tell you what, for Team Chaos, oh, baby.
Yeah.
Is the Big 12 a whole lot of what the fuck's going to happen now?
Yeah, wait till next time, buddy. We'll see you again.
Yeah, that's a possibility. There's still a certain team that might be trying to win one for old T-Boone out in Stillwater.
Oh, boy.
So nothing's a guarantee right now. Yeah. There is some guarantees. Death, taxes, and if you have any hopes of winning a Big Ten, if you want to be a power in the Big Ten,
don't play Iowa.
You're going to lose in Kinnick. Iowa
Fucking
20.
play Iowa.
Iowa 23 and Minnesota 19. Eddie was convinced the Kinnick Powers wouldn't be there at night, but what Eddie didn't know, and I didn't know this either until ESPN put it up. Iowa is actually now 3-0 with this win against teams that come into Kinnick 9-0.
Yep.
They did it to Michigan in 2016, and I remember that vividly because that's when I went down to San Antonio for the Shamrock Series. And my wife was in the bathroom at one point texting one of her friends, and she knew the game I was watching. And all of a sudden she texted us like, well, Michigan must have lost because Ryan is dying laughing right now, and I can hear him.
Yep.
So that was one back in 2016, and they did it to Penn State in 2008. The pink locker room powers worked, and man, Minnesota just couldn't get things going at all. Iowa's defense clamped down, and really it was the Kinnick magic that went there.
Yeah, Iowa got them early. That's really what they did.
And they held on
jumped
at
him.
that point.
They jumped on them early. Minnesota had to settle for a couple field goals early. They were already just out of their shit. So, yeah, I mean, this is what happens. Why would you ever be like, oh, yeah, well, you're saying we have to play in Kinnick late mid-November? Can we do late? Shit, can we make it the last game of the season? Fuck it. Like, why would you do this?
Yeah, can we get this out of the way first? Like, forget the non-conference. Shift this thing the fuck up our schedule.
I'm saying.
So, Jesus, Elvis doesn't mean PJ Fleck is available for hire. No. So, PJ Fleck actually did have a storyline here. So, this was a weird-ass sequence. So, late in the game, Minnesota is actually driving to try to get the lead back again. And there is a long pass, and there looked to be a personal foul penalty that was going to happen. And because one of PJ's players is down, he rows the boat all the way onto the field immediately, and he gets a personal foul for it, wipes out the other personal foul, and then Minnesota isn't able to convert, and then they have a last prayer that doesn't get answered. So that was deep into Iowa territory. That would have given them a decent chance. A really weird thing to throw the flag. PJ Fleck, I don't blame him, was unapologetic about it. It's like, one of my players was down. And
Yeah.
he's pretty indignant about it too. And it made me sitting like, man, if BK was saying this, people would be pissed, regardless of how right he actually is.
Absolutely.
He went
You're like, oh, decorum.
yes. And this is the most animated I've ever seen PJ Fleck. He says like, there's no gate, there's no red light, green light, there's no gate saying I can go back out there. They said I went too fast. Well, how fast is too fast? And I didn't realize this. He was on the Rutgers staff when Eric LeGrand had that horrific injury on the kickoff.
Yep.
So that shit doesn't leave you. That's in the back of his mind as well. So it sucks. It's weird. It's another case of weird referee flagging, in my opinion. And I know
this has been a flagship year in bad flagsmanship.
Yeah.
It's the refs have been pretty astonishingly and glaringly consistently bad. So, I mean, it doesn't help that this is Iowa, but this is a bad call in my opinion as well. I agree with you.
Yeah, and Clearwall, I know our resident referee is saying that the gate and the red light, green light is the ref, and you have to go on the field when invited. Look, somebody goes down. I honestly, and I've been on the sidelines for games, and I've seen coaches and training staff run onto the field. It's not always by invitation. I will tell you that. I 100% have seen people run out there to attend to a player quickly and as quickly as possible without a ref waving or saying they can go ahead and proceed. Basically, the play was dead. He heard the whistle and he ran out there. Could he have waited a couple seconds longer? Sure, but this is one I think it's a little bit nitpicky, and it's where I would hope refs, especially at that point in the game, you kind of give a little bit more leeway because it's And again, let's also remember, BK was jumping up and down the field on a fucking onside kick, and the refs held the flag in their pockets. So, Texas is back out of the rankings.
Texas is back where they belong. Oh.
Iowa, the state. Do not go to fucking Iowa in November, people.
Stop fucking with Iowa. Like it's just I don't know why we have to explain ourselves. We all know this.
Yes, Iowa, and again that we have weirdness at the end of the game, And this weirdness was Iowa State's lining up for a 42-yard field goal game-winning attempt. Player jumps offside, first down, new set of downs. They center the ball. They really don't get many more yards. They only advance it one more yard, but they bleed clock. 26-yard field goal attempt is good. Night, Texas. You're out of... There's still, from projections, in line for the Camping World Bowl, but there's still a lot of craziness to happen in the Big 12 right now.
Like against Notre Dame?
Yes.
Ha ha. I would love that.
I would love it myself as well.
Oh my God.
But yeah, the entire state of Iowa was a fucking death trap if you had a number next to your name, and as typically happens in November. So, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, this isn't even like a conference thing. This isn't about like Big 10 and Big 12. Nah, dude. The state eats souls. It's where Slipknot came from. We're not fucking around here, people.
and look, and here's the thing. Iowa State did not cover. Texas actually covers. So Tom Herman is an underdog.
Yeah.
Still very much in play. All right, let's get to a non-upset for once.
Well,
Georgia.
it got weird.
21, Auburn 14.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of Auburn. I don't. And I don't know what to make of Georgia either, quite frankly.
Okay. So this is the weird thing. It's like, okay, so you look at the score. Whoa, Georgia 21, Auburn 14. Okay, so maybe things were interesting. They weren't.
No.
They super were not. Georgia was beaten dead ass after a decent amount of nothing happening. Hey, look, nothing's happening. Georgia just goes on 21-0 tear, and then what the fuck? It's like basketball. Auburn's like, now can we score?
It was very shades of not to this degree. This was a bigger comeback than what Georgia allowed against Notre Dame, but it very much had that feel. Kirby Smart when he gets a lead, just sits on it. There's no aggression. It gets ultra conservative. And look, I understand when you do it on your offense, when you have DeAndre Swift and an entire offensive line full of fucking 5 stars. That I get. What I don't get is also having your defense completely seem to change their operation until the very end when, oh shit, Auburn's driving down to score. And then Bo Nix goes full fucking freshman at the worst possible time. A 4th and short, wide open, back, slips out. And I had kids screaming and yelling, and I look up, all I see is like a ball go off the dude's hands. I'm like, how do you not catch that? And then I got to see the throw after Twitter also jumped on top of me. Like, did you see the pass? So instead of he could have thrown the biggest lollipop rainbow and led his guy, and he would have been able to run 10 more yards. There wasn't a soul around him. Instead, he throws it behind his running back, who knows he's behind the stick. So he's trying to keep moving to make sure he gets that first down, and he can't haul it in. And it was just one of the worst passes that he made all game long. Yeah. And they get one more crack at it too, because again, Georgia could not get moving.
Yeah, I mean,
oh God, frustrating.
It's just, Georgia's going to get credit for this fucking win, but they shouldn't. Nobody should. Everybody should drop down in the rankings for this. Like, everybody was worse off. I'm sorry, but the fact that Georgia's ranked 4th feels so obnoxiously de facto right now that it cannot possibly hold.
Right.
Like, they do not belong in the playoff right now. If we're looking at the landscape right now, like, Clemson deserves a spot over them, and that's really not an argument.
And the Pac-12 too, which we'll get
even
to a
the
little bit
Pac-12,
later.
Utah and Oregon, keeping shit real fucking interesting. Georgia does not. They're just there because they fell into it by accident. Like, it's almost like their rich dad got them that 4th spot. That's kind of how it feels.
That is so apt for Georgia as a whole.
You know what I mean? That's how it feels. Like, their rich dad is like, yeah, my dad knows somebody, so we're like going to the playoffs. But it's not gonna hold. I suspect that whatever happens in the SEC as an overall landscape, the championship game will absolutely shake this shit out.
Yeah, and they did clinch the SEC East with this victory. This should be mentioned. This is the storyline there.
LSU is going to beat that ass.
Yes, it's going to be bad. So the other thing to mention here, Spencer Hall of Banner Society encapsulated it perfectly for what it's like to be a Georgia fan right now. What everybody wanted in the SEC West was to hire a Saban lookalike and have the team operate like Saban. They did it, but the problem is that they forgot that every boring-ass team that Saban had, Kirby Smart was kind of a part of. Now Alabama is a whole different bag right now, and Georgia's got the leftovers at this point. Now, it's not to say Kirby Smart's bad. I mean, the guy's a hell of a recruiter. He's not the worst coach in the world, but man, some of the game management situations, Notre Dame had no business when they were down in Athens to have a shot at winning that game at the end. Auburn had absolutely no business to bring this within a single possession, much less have a chance to tie.
Yep.
Man, I do not understand. And especially in these days where every analytic shows you that aggressiveness can pay off just a wee bit more, and they clam up. And again, it's not just on one side of the ball. It is like Trestle Ball is blushing about what George is doing.
God.
All right.
Forgot about Jim fucking Tressel. Yeah, I keep thinking about that South Park episode where they sing about like the history of like the Book of the Mormon Church, and they keep saying like so and so smart. Like that's what I keep thinking, that head coach Kirby not so smart. Yeah. You know, head coach dumb. That's what I keep thinking.
Clearwall nailed it in the chat too. Got the dumb.
Head coach dumb. Because like he has an aura of like a Saban clonism to him, which has a presumed respect to it. But like at every moment when he's put on to actually make a decision, that's when he's like, oh shit, I have not put my ass away. It is still out. I'm so sorry. But like the talent on his team kind of bails him out a lot.
Absolutely does. It helps when he got 5 stars everywhere, man.
It's like if Will Muschamp were to like stumble into like, oh shit, I work at Georgia now. Oh fuck, okay. Well, here we go. That's how it feels.
Oh god. All right. Well, let's get back into the Big Ten, especially after we start mentioning Tressel in here. But I'm looking forward to the Iron Bowl. Not necessarily. I was looking forward to it even with Tua on the team. Now it's gonna be on drugs.
It's gonna be super fucking weird.
You got a freshman and a backup quarterback. Shit's gonna get weird.
I cannot wait.
All right, but anyway, Penn State 34, Indiana 27. We got a lot of weird shit to talk about in this one. So that vaunted secondary, which caused some people on the Notre Dame beat to wonder, man, why can't Notre Dame have receivers that tears apart just this vaunted secondary that Penn State had? Well, Indiana also torched it for 371 yards. It's almost like Penn State's finally playing some functional offenses.
Yeah.
And Michigan was not one of them.
Yeah, this whole secondary is like, they're more like a tertiary. They're not really doing much. You know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck y'all are talking about. Let's be real. The problem with that certain other outlets had massive pitched tents about with Minnesota with the wide receivers was just that Minnesota's wide receivers are that good. Yeah. Let's not be stupid. Like Penn State's not, their defense is not what it's about. Their offense is what's keeping Penn State in good position right now.
Yeah, and look, if we want to go back to the Michigan well too, I mean, if you got a vaunted secondary, even if you're playing conservative, you don't cough up as many points as you do, and then have Michigan have a chance to win the damn thing at the very end. And that's really what happened here. Peyton Ramsey, 31 for 41, only 10 balls hitting the ground. That's just sick. One TD, 371 yards. Also, the lead also had 12 carries for 31 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Now,
that'll do it.
Here's what spelled it, because Penn State was on the ropes, but what spelled disaster was, I have it in my notes, Shane. You can verify I have fake in quotation marks.
Sure does.
Because I'm not sure if this was intentional, because it was that bad. It might have been a fuck up.
It might have just been a fuck up.
Like, the punter looked confused. You had the weirdest formation. There's like 3 people in the center of the field. You got like 4 people. It looked like if you ever play that old electronic football thing, the vibrating football that had the players go. Yep. Like, I actually did this there, and I did it against my dad. I set like a group of people up on the edge and hid the ball behind like a little diamond. And I did that little diamond to make sure the dude didn't accidentally go out of bounds. That's what it fucking looked like there. Like they were just waiting for somebody to flip a switch and everybody start doing a vibration thing.
Yep.
The long snapper snaps it to the up back, who looked shocked that it came to him.
The only expression you can explain it is, seriously? He catches it like, oh shit, really? Oh.
The punter was like, he started running, so I almost feel like the snap was supposed to go completely to the left of the up back, to
like
the
miss it.
sprinting punter.
Yeah.
So, because this was hilarious because I've now rewatched this thing a million times. The next time you do, watch the punter's reaction there.
Yeah.
Because he throws his arms up in the air like, what the
He goes,
fuck just happened?
Fuck.
It's the only punt I've seen that has been worse so far. The Red Plague has one, and it's an NFL one.
Pagano and the Colts,
Whatever
bro.
the Colts did.
Pagano and the Colts.
But that chest pass thing that Arkansas did that Auburn picked out of midair and ran back. That's the only other one I've seen that is nearly this bad because
the NFL, the fact that the Colts, it's a professional team, that's what makes it the best.
Yes. There's no limited practice there. That is all they do is football.
I suspect that they've tried this many times and maybe had like a 50% success rate in practice. And like the last final attempt, they were like, okay, up back, motherfucker. Do me a favor. Miss the ball. Okay? Whatever you got to do.
Duck. Just duck.
Just fucking duck. Okay? And the guy's like, where? No. I didn't say there is a duck. I said duck. Okay? On the field, duck. And he's like, I still don't see it. That's probably what happened. So when the play actually enacted, he was looking for the duck. He caught a ball. He said, why?
It was completely screwed up. And this, it wasn't just the fact, the reason we're harping on this punt so much, not because it was fucking hilarious, but because immediately after, Penn State scored to put this game away. And Indiana could not recover after that.
Instantly.
And then as if like the college football gods decided, we're just going to go full hilarious. Mm-hmm. Do you know who happened to be in the booth in this game, Shane?
Oh, will you please remind me?
Rod fucking Gilmore, Mr. Never Do Anything, take any risk. If like it pains him when anybody goes for it on fourth down.
He doesn't understand how hilarious his own curse is.
So
he doesn't understand.
This is the one time that he got to say, I told everybody, look what you just did. You handed the game away, you idiots.
He always goes like, I'm not sure about this decision.
On everything. Okay. All right. Well, let's start quick hitting some more of this stuff. We got, I don't know what I just did there. All right. Let's move that back. All right. Oregon 34, Arizona 6. We are mentioning this only because we need to talk about the Pac-12.
Does Kevin Sumlin still have a job? He does?
For now, he's going to lose another one. I don't see how anything's going to go here.
Oregon's just going to pace them way through, and then Utah is all that matters.
And Utah as well. UCLA controlled, past tense, their own destiny. It is now out of their hands as Utah fucking waxes them 49-3.
Isn't it funny how these two coaches, like how these two teams have like consistently remained in place, and then Kevin Sumlin and Chip Kelly like had the whole rise and absolute meteoric fall the entire time that this has happened.
Yes.
What a bunch of assholes.
Unbelievable. So Oregon right now in the playoff ranking 6, Utah 7. We make sure to mention that because basically these two teams, Oregon and Utah, they're collision course time.
Most interesting championship game in the conferences, maybe?
And because of the stakes, because this is going to be every other conference championship game. And now because of everything that happened with Baylor and OU, this is pretty much a play-in. This is a playoff play-in game.
Yeah.
And it's still hilarious that it's in fucking Levi Stadium and at fucking Santa Clara that nobody wants to go to. And now it's going to matter. It's actually going to matter.
Disgusting. Yeah, no one's going to watch it. No one's going to go. But, it's going to have all the... Look, it's going to be the only one worth watching on TV. But no one's
yeah, and it's got the most stakes by far because what's probably going to end up happening is we have enough shuffling. They're either going to remain 6 and 7, or the playoff committee is going to make it real clear that it's a playing game. Is going to put them 5 and 6 right before the championship game.
Yep,
and that's pretty much what we're looking at. Group of 5, Cincinnati. I don't know how this happened, and I watched the whole game. Shane, I actually watched this. Maybe because I had a personal investment in it as well. Because I'm like, Cincinnati 14 favored against South Florida, who just sucks so bad this season.
Super butt.
I'm like, okay, good team. Yeah, it's on the road. 2 possessions, I'll take it. Cincinnati just couldn't get going. Ritter had a little period where he was actually hurt for part of this game, but even when he was in, just nothing was clicking. It was fucking ugly. It was butt-ass ugly game towards the end, and Cincinnati just barely survives, and right now they're still the leader in the clubhouse, but who the hell knows at this point what the playoff committee is going to do, because Memphis is one loss right behind them, too. They also won yesterday. Yesterday. So we'll see. This was a near upset here.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck the group of 5 is, but I'll tell you what they're not playing in the playoff. It's not fucking happening. Like, I'm sorry.
No, that dream died
that shit
when
died
UCF
a
shot the
hot
bed.
minute ago. Yeah.
It's really who the hell is going to end up in the Cotton Bowl. That's really what it is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where Boise's at this point, but I mean, it just seems like nobody wants the spot. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to take over as the de facto "we got this" team. There's still a chance for I think Hawaii to do some weird shit too. So I don't know, but you have no business in 2019, as bad as they are. You know, whatever. I mean, Charlie Strong, yikes. South Florida, that's a bad team.
It's a
really
bad team.
Bad team. You cannot be going in there scraping by with a field goal, even on the road. I'm sorry.
All right, now we're super quick hitting it because these are all blowouts. I actually put 3 games on a single slide.
Good.
LSU wins easily at Ole Miss. However, a little bit of suspect here. That is worth talking about because their defense, I don't know what the hell happened here, but fucking Plumlee ran for 212 yards and 4 touchdowns. This was the most Rich Rod QB performance ever. And God bless you guys for making that a push. God bless you for just holding on there.
Can I just say, would it not be astonishingly surprising, after Alabama last week, if, they went into the locker room and they were like, defense, you guys can play, but, don't go crazy. You don't have to do too much. It is Ole Miss. You know, we do have, Yosemite Sam over there and fucking Rich Rod Rodriguez in the booth. So, don't overdo it. Just don't, we'll make sure you guys don't lose. Sign the offense.
Yeah, and this game actually could have been a lot closer if Ole Miss could have stopped anything that LSU was throwing out there. Because there was a couple times it looked like this was going to be a real game, and Ole Miss might just fuck around and do the damn thing. Not so much. They kept their distance. Joe Burrow just goes nuts. He throws for damn near 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. An LSU quarterback threw for 5 touchdowns and nearly 500 yards, y'all.
Again.
Ohio State could not cover the 50-plus against Rutgers. They win. Rutgers, it was the first touchdown they surrendered in the first quarter, and they did it to fucking Rutgers.
Yeah.
Road games, man. Weird shit happens. 56-21. That was the weirdest that happened. They ran all over them. Clemson covers a large spread against a team that was just in the top 25 a week ago.
Obliterates what's left of Wake Forest.
52-3. Jesus.
How I have not seen a faster star crash than Wake Forest this season. The past 2 weeks have been not good.
No, it's been real bad, and it came to the point to where the ACC, or rather the Orange Bowl reps, no, it was the playoff committee. It's like, oh, well, what do you do? Do you extend the rankings to make sure you can figure out who from the ACC goes to the Orange Bowl? And they just said, nope, we're ranking to 25. The Orange Bowl can deal with it after that point.
We'll figure it out.
And I'm just like, oh, please. And I know, again, I spent a lot of time writing the little evergreen posts on HLS for where Indy's bow ties are. They are contractually not able to take the ACC bid, but if anybody just wanted to fuck, because money talks.
I'd be like, look, we're 60% independent. You know what I mean? We could technically be like, hey, we're still an independent.
And it's like, you know what? We'll actually draw because the Orange Bowl may be just an absolute dog shit New Year's Six Bowl at this rate because of what's going on in the ACC. And Lowe earlier had asked, is every backup quarterback going to transfer from Clemson? Nah, they're going to hang around there for one more year because dude's gone after next year.
He's so paid after next year.
Yes.
Bye.
Which that means Notre Dame gets another shot at him, and it'll be in South Bend, and it will be in November as well.
Yeah, dude.
It's going to be exciting. I'm already looking at it.
Clinched up already.
All right. Well, we still got one more game to talk about. It's a lovely blowout, and we will get to that right after this.
BRB.
All right, folks, I'm going to hit the old add button. Friendly reminder, if you are subbed, you're able to bypass this little business. We will be back in 60 seconds. Whew. It's great. We're going to talk about like the national scene for over half an hour. I have no idea how much we're going to pull out of this one.
No, I suspect it's just going to be. I mean, it was a good win.
Oh, it was a great win.
Let's just dig into that. Super weird to see such a dominating win over Navy.
Like I said on Twitter, I had fun.
Yeah, I had to rebrand it after the game started.
All right, we got 25 left on the ad. Pull everything back up here. That's what else's break is good for me, to make sure I can open up some new tabs and don't blow up my PC with 50 fucking Chrome tabs.
Yeah, my shit starts to sweat.
No, Benny, actually head to HLS. It's in more detail since we're about to be on the other end of the ad break. But basically there is no at-large Orange Bowl bid. It is contractually ACC against either Big Ten or SEC. So Notre Dame has to be ranked above the Big Ten or SEC that do not go to the playoffs and do not go to the Rose or Sugar Bowl, which right now where Notre Dame stands ain't going to happen. So really it would have to be the ACC doing fuckery to actually put Notre Dame in. All right, let's go ahead and get back at it. All right, let's get back into it. It is the title of this show, Shay. Notre Dame blows out a ranked opponent at home.
What?
I don't give a shit if they're going to be knocked out of the rankings. This was a hell of a lot of fun. 52-20, your final. That was not as the game, not as close as the score indicates.
Dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, this score is like a LOL. It was okay when it was 28-0. I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel good about this one.
They scored 24 points in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It was absolutely unbelievable. I was, when you play Navy, you got to be efficient with your drives, right? Yep. Notre Dame scored on like 100% of their drives for the majority of this game. It was great. Absolutely great. Yeah. Oh, so the other story, of course, the person leading this blowout was Chase Claypool. 7 receptions, 117 yards, 4 touchdowns, which ties the Notre Dame record. Shane, I already know your dick rocketed off last week. Did a return to orbit and then rocket back off again?
It's in the Andromeda Galaxy, at last I checked.
And that was a really shitty Mass Effect game, by the way.
No, terrible. But this shit is like it is beyond. It has left our system. It is off into exploration, parts unknown. We will discover the universe unlike we've ever seen. I felt like I just sit there. I was just sitting there like, not like jaw like on the floor feeling, but just like, man, like I fucking knew it, right? Like it was kind of like where we all knew this was coming. Like there we all saw it. We were all validated for believing this was possible. We all got to see it.
Yeah, and it's because look, I mean, I'm wearing the Hold Me I'm Irish shirt that you can find at the HLS store or littlesons.com/store. But we are programmed to expect this game to be fucking miserable because it usually is. It's usually a one possession game. So even when the Sim's like, nah, y'all, it's gonna be fine. And even when I picked Notre Dame to cover, I didn't pick them covering by fucking 30 plus.
Nope.
Like, this was absolutely insane how good they were playing. And they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They took a look, Chase Claypool, tiny secondary, y'all fucked.
Yeah. That's what we said from the beginning. They cannot cover both. They cannot handle both Kmet and Claypool. It's just not possible. And if Kmet is such a massive risk weapon, so highly dangerous, it stands to reason that they would rather gamble with Claypool one-on-one. And I'm sorry, but he's 6'4". Like, you fucked up.
Navy kept blitzing.
Yeah.
And not only was Book comfortable, but that offensive line, which has an entire right side down by injury, was picking everything up. And I know there's a lot of eye rolling where on the teleconference today, Brian Kelly said, the running backs were, we don't have an Adrian Peterson, but they're doing down and dirty stuff. They were also a part of picking up those blocks like crazy because Book didn't have to panic. And he took a couple hits in this game too, but there was no panic in his game. He was going for the easy one-on-ones, which also included Braden Lindsay, whatever fatigue he had was gone because that
eat my
dude was
ass.
fucking
He was
Maverick with cresting a flyby, man. Jesus.
I gotta say too, like, not for nothing, but my goodness, welcome back, Christopher Fink, motherfucker.
Whatever had been nagging him.
That tearaway touchdown where he like broke off those 2 ancillary tackles at the end, like any other week, that would have been a collapse to the ground. Like, oh shit, we went down. He was like, no, touch. I see the end. Get the fuck off me. I see the end zone.
Like,
it was great.
Everybody just played a fucking great game, and I really was so mad that punt return got brought back because the block in the back was okay. Letter of the law, yes. It was one of those dumb things where you go yell at the dude in film reviews like, you did not have to do that. The guy was out of position already. Just let him fly past Fink. Because he hit the Jets. He just started going everywhere. And this is how good of a mood I was in. I had fun on that punt return, and I know it's not going to count because they said there was a flag about 5 minutes ago on the field.
Yeah, and it was still fun, and it didn't fucking matter. Whereas before it would have been, well, Chicken Littles, where are you at? How hard is the sky falling now?
Yeah, and Clearwall nails it right on the head that Fink's got some swagger back because when Claypool hit that other touchdown, he went up and just put 4 right up at the camera. It's like, we're counting, guys.
Yeah, he went up to the camera like, guys, did you know we're up to this many? Yeah, it's pretty good. It was really, really good. At the beginning, I'm used to, we're all conditioned, especially in the Brian Kelly era. Like, you never fucking know with Navy. You just never fucking know. Ever since year 1, it was like, shit. It's one of these regimes where nothing's guaranteed. And so I tweeted at the beginning. It's like, all right, so is everyone ready to get angry? It's Navy, Notre Dame 2019. You're going to hate it. But then the 28-0 later, I'm like, well, so we're all having a great time. I regret my initial assessment. It's 2019's Notre Dame Navy. Holy shit, this is fun.
It was... And I even tweeted that, I'm like, am I having fun at a Notre Dame Navy football game? Like, the last time I had this much fun was when they were trouncing them in Ireland. But that Navy team was not nearly as good as this one was. And look, Navy...
Same number of points, 52.
Very true. Navy is, they're not... I don't know if they're ever going to come back in the top 25, especially now that they have to play the rest of their tough schedule now. Their schedule is completely black-loaded. Not just Notre Dame. They've already played Memphis, but they still got to play SMU. I don't think they played Cincinnati yet, to my knowledge. Let me actually check their schedule. That's the one tab I do not have open. But basically, they're no slouches, this Navy team.
They were a 1-loss team, dude.
Right. They need to play Houston. They do not play Cincinnati. So they play Houston, and then, of course, they have Army at the end of the year. So SMU, Houston, and Army. So they got the... latter half of their schedule is going to be a lot of fun. But, man, just incredible to watch them shredded. But the defense, dude, Clark Lee, how he is not nominated for the Burroughs Award blows my mind. This is the 3rd different defensive scheme he has installed this season.
Yep.
Forget the 5-down lineman. Notre Dame lined up with 6 for the majority of the game. Like,
yep.
This is a depleted defensive line. And he had no fear in just rolling 6 dudes out there at various points in the game.
I just if you look at it, like when next time you get a chance, you may be listening to this right now, but like the next time you get a chance, just pull up a picture of him and just ask yourself, is he possibly a secret mad doctor professor type? Like, does he not have that streak about him where he seems so capable of seeing something in a 6th fucking dimension that the other people don't?
He's playing 10D chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
He just got that brow line of oh shit, whatever I just said, he knew that I was gonna say it 2 fucking weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Chat's wondering if it's your evil twin.
Hey, kind of. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what I'm seeing in him. Just a little bit of a twinkle in my eye of myself. But no, dude, he has this ability of just adapting to the game plan on a fucking dime, and just especially at halftime, if he needs to change shit, it changes so aggressively that it's almost like there was never a shot to begin with.
And there wasn't the way Notre Dame was playing them. It was incredible. And we've said before, in reference to Elko, because A&M, look, obviously playing especially this season. They could face 3 number ones in a single year, which is just fucking insane. But that's not the same defensive quality we saw over at Notre Dame and are seeing right now, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
Now it's not that, was he the magic behind it? It's like, was Elko holding this dude back? Because Elko never deviated from his scheme. He never mixed things up. It was the exact same thing every single time, which isn't bad. It's actually really dangerous to completely change what you do. And against SC, we saw a 3 safety formation, not a rover. We're not talking about, Wu sitting out there as a hybrid safety linebacker. No, 3 legit safeties over the top. You saw a completely different formation against Virginia Tech, and then you see again another completely different formation against Navy. It's unreal. And like Shane says, the halftime adjustments, when things got to change, they change.
He does not fuck around. He's so good at it.
It was awesome. And not only that, but the presence of mind that, and we've talked different times about this team sometimes showing signs that they aren't well coached. Well, the defense sure as shit didn't have that problem, because however they've been practicing against the option, they were taught when and where to get their hands out to cause fumbles at opportunities where the ball security is a little bit less secure at certain points of the play. I have never seen Navy put the ball on the ground this many times.
They were fucking butterfingers so hard. It was, but this has been like a staple now for like the past 2 years. Like they go for the strip, and you watch it when they're making the tackle. Like sometimes you get annoyed because it's like, motherfucker, just bring them down.
Like,
but
against SC, that caused a lot of problems.
Every time though, somebody's going after the strip, and it's just like that shit eventually pays off.
And the ultimate fumble, it was something that I have only been able to see in the NCAA video game when I am on the sticks.
Yeah.
It is, and I did it against Navy more than once when I was playing them. It was begging that I could jump in between the pitchman and the quarterback.
Yes,
and
sir.
quote unquote, pick the ball off in midair. And
it was one of the most rewarding things when you pulled it off.
And it actually, we saw it in real life where Paul Maiola came through.
Paul Maola.
Moala.
Like Moana, Moala.
Oh my gosh, that was just art, and that was at the fucking tail end of the game too.
I mean, it was the after the battle's over, going around and just like giving all the corpses one last stab of the battle scene, just in case.
Oh god, it was. I mean, and again, when you put Navy behind the 8 ball, and usually when you think about, they got to be off schedule, you got to find a tackle for loss here and there. It's like, no, we're just going to completely remove possessions from them and have fun catching up, because we know our offense can't be stopped. Everything, look, again, it was off. We can always preface this with, look, we know it's Navy, but still, the confidence that this team had is what we have been looking for and waiting for. And it was almost like where Virginia Tech was, Ian Book, saying, you thought I couldn't, take this team on my back, on my shoulders, and lead them to victory. Well, I just did. Duke is like, hey, I got some of this back. And Navy is like, you fuckers think I can't throw a deep ball? Watch this shit.
Yeah, no, Navy was him just finally being like, dick, table.
And these throws were like fucking cannons.
Yeah.
These were not like these gigantic, long, arcing, slow ass throws.
That throw on the run to the left hand side when he hit Lawrence Keys on the sideline for 25 fucking yards. He put his soul in that throw.
And he was like, "Oh, you think I throw off the back foot too much? Watch this shit." He just zipped it in there.
Watch me now. It's about to get hideous.
It's like, where is this Ian? Did he have some kind of injury that we were only like slightly aware of, a la Fink? Like,
I don't know. I fucking love it. I'm super into it.
Disrespecting the troops, Ian Book, all up and down the field, man. Good grief. Absolutely incredible. And the linebacking core had a hell of a game. Drew White gets 10 tackles, the leader on the day.
Yeah, dude. Drew White was everywhere. I love, this is his first fucking season, dude. His first season playing the position. I'm so fucking excited. The dude he gets it. Like, he's got that same, like, that Greer Martini / Joe Schmidt combo thing where he understands exactly what he's doing. He just has like a natural knack for finding the fucking ball. I love it.
But unlike Schmidt, I don't want to throw him under the bus too much, but he's got a hell of a lot more athletic ability than
That's
Schmidt
what I'm
ever
saying.
did, man.
He's a good combination
Yeah.
of those two players.
It was so much, and that was what we were worried about, and especially because we had seen the option concepts screw with this team so much. Everybody was playing such disciplined football, and look, Navy got theirs. They're going to get theirs. The only time you completely shut Navy down is if they suck or you're playing a video game.
Yep.
Otherwise, they're going to get theirs, and it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be annoying, but you don't worry about it. You stay with it, and then like the first fumble was or the second one actually was a long ass drive, and then fumble.
Yep.
It's like, look, we're going to get the ball back eventually. Just unbelievable. Yeah, Hamilton had a monster tackle for loss too, as pointed out in the chat. Wu had a couple big plays too, just flying across the field. Yep. This was. You had to find something to get mad about in this game.
I'm sorry, this was therapy, guys. This was fucking therapy.
It was therapeutic.
Michigan never really left us, Virginia Tech and Duke didn't do shit to wash that shit out of our mouths, but a little bit of Navy helps, mint some things up. A little bit fresher breath now.
Like any game where I can keep that little Leprechaun hole down in the corner of our set on Twitch.
Yep.
It's a good day, and it's a good game. So obviously we got to do that against Stanford here in a couple weeks as well, or he's going to lose a limb.
I believe they can do it.
I look, especially because
Stanford looks like
is
fucking butt.
Still playing like butt.
It should absolutely be fine.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Navy actually, threw the ball a little bit more, and even when Notre Dame knew that they were going to throw more, they didn't deviate from the plan. It's like, fuck it, let them throw, whatever. Who cares? They get loose, fine. They score a touchdown, fine.
Not a concern whatsoever. Malcolm Perry, who? That's what they said. Like, who? What? Oh, you play for this team. Oh, okay. We heard something about some guy.
Oh, Clearwell has a good point. Boston College. I forgot. There's a rivalry trophy with that one, too. So, yes, he will lose 2 limbs. Thank you for the correction there. And Phil even got a little bit of playing time. The game was so out of hand. He basically, had one drive to kind of run something similar to aggressive offense. And then it was just, let's hand it off. Let's make sure we don't fucking die here on the field and anybody gets their knees clipped out. Let's run the clock out. And look, everybody survived. The couple of injury scares were actually freak accidents with our guys running into each other.
Right.
That was about it.
Yeah.
And after the ones got a couple drives in the third, and then they were out. That was it.
That was the whole thing. That was the key. And even the second they played really well. I mean, I feel good about this team. I definitely feel good about the likelihood that they'll get their 10th win and close it out. I understand it's BC and Stanford, but like, I don't know about you guys, but like this kind of feels like for those two teams, history be damned kind of season. They're both pretty much clearly what they are. So I'm not, I just don't, I'm feeling like the mojo or the bad juju in the air isn't really like we got out of the way. Michigan did its thing. At this point, it's like, Notre Dame should just beat who it's going to beat and find out who they play in the postseason, and then we'll see what we can make for the year. Yeah,
and you can't look. Those two teams, that's all they got to play for is to really shit in our Cheerios. That's about it.
Pretty much.
That's all they got left. And here's the other fun part, because we mentioned that the 2s and really the 3s even got backups.
Yeah.
Shane, I don't know if you're looking at the box score or if you've done this little insane county that I just did. Do you care to guess how many defensive players got on the stat sheet with a tackle?
Defensive players?
Yes, defensive players got on the stat sheet.
I'm going to go ahead and guess 18.
26.
Holy shit.
26 different players registered to tackle.
Holy shit.
And 3 of them only 3 of them were not solo tackles, and they got an assist on one. And that was Dante Vaughn, Ade Ogundeji, and DJ Brown. Everybody else had at least a solo tackle on their record.
Everybody got in on the party.
8 tackles for loss. And look, it's not easy to TFL an option. You get 2 sacks as well.
That's crazy. I mean, it was a good it was a great fucking game. I mean, let's just there's no 2 ways about it. It was a great game. It was basically everything that the fan base I think needed to see at this point to ride into the next phase of the season. But yeah, I just enjoyed myself.
Yeah, you even got Dora out there to say, "Hey, I still got the leg. I still got my confidence." He gets a 32-yarder. And that was in the midst of scoring on every drive, and that was the first one that stalled out. I'm like, "Oh, fuck it. Fire everybody. We cooked a field goal in this shit."
It's over. We fucked this up.
But yeah, this a hell of a game. You wish they all could go like this, and looking forward and resetting a little bit to BC. You know, in that game, again, there's a big rushing attack weapon, but that defense is absolute ass beyond that. So you're facing another one-dimensional team, and you would think Clark Lee's got enough in the bag to make that happen again. So let's see what happens the rest of the way. And it's going to be another home game, and then you go on the road out to the farm. Like Shane said, let's just see if we can get those 10 wins, right? I mean, it'd be dumb not to at this point.
At this point, it would be silly.
All right, and Clearwall's got one final question that we end with. Drop, pause, Navy. Look,
No.
I would be fine if the series disappeared, but I'm also a realist. For as much as I would love, it makes a great talking point. It makes good content. It makes good click fodder, but it ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, man. It just accept it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a good, compelling game. It pisses us all off, and that's a sign that it's working. Every season it stresses us.
That is the most Catholic thing said on this podcast ever.
Yes, that's the sign that it's working. The fact that it stresses us all the fuck out means, aha, someone's spending money. That's driving somebody somewhere. So it's good.
Do you feel bad about this? Do you wish it could be different? Do you feel like this is a chore and that this is just something that you were told that you have to do and you're just going to have to deal with it?
Yep.
Yes, this is the most Notre Dame series ever. And look, it's fine as far as there's been some dirty ass Navy teams that have come through the gates. We actually have legitimately not had that kind of problem. I'm knocking on wood in quite a while. And really ever since Nua Matalolo came through, I think a lot of that stuff there may have been some Paul Johnson fuck you-isms in there, to be quite honest. But yeah, look, there are obviously better teams that we could play. This is not an easy game. Usually they do not go like this, and very well aware, because this takes up practice time throughout the season. This is not a 1 week thing. BK's been on the record. They spend time in fall camp working on the option. They work throughout the entire season, and they have option periods. This wastes fucking time in practice. So, look, it is what it is. It's going to be here. There's other things we could do. Somebody said bring back Sparty. Yes, that would be a much more name brand game. It'd be a hell of a lot more fun. Hell, you could mix in all kinds of other teams in there. In November, though, hard to completely mix things up. But, you know, there's other things you could throw in the mix in there. But,
yeah, we'll see.
You know, there's still a lot of great stuff in there. A lot of fun out of conference, non-ACC opponents, non-rivals that we throw in there, but schedules as good as I think we can get it right now, including having a couple cupcakes sprinkled in, which as much as they hurt ticket sales and they screw up sellout streaks, very understandable. It always helps to get
look
those
at the
practice
points.
reps in.
Who gives a fuck?
Yes. It is nice to enjoy a Saturday. Just enjoy it. It is what look at what the entire fucking SEC is going to do next week, okay?
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's enough from us today. Thank you to all of you that joined us over here on twitch.tv/RollAllSuns. Make sure you come back here for the Picks Pod Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central. And, of course, you can subscribe to the pod over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you happen to get your podcast feeds at. Come join us in Discord and keep the conversation going. That is our live chat channel, herlowsuns.com/Discord. And, of course, you can always find us at our home on the internet. Figure out how the bowl things work over at herlowsuns.com. Until next time, go Irish, beat BC. Have a good one.